So I don't know about you all, but building community lots in The Sims is probably the most daunting thing to do. Too many requirements, too many ideas, and not knowing when to end. And honestly, I agree with you all. I am in the same boat as you all because I never do them. I find them extremely hard. So I thought, why not do a base game only build challenge for myself where I build a community pool in Newcrest on a 30 by 30 lot for my Newcrest base game save file. So when I tell you I'm really bad at building community lots in The Sims, I truly mean it because I have no idea where I'm going to start, where I'm going to end. I don't even know what the theme is going to be. I just know I have an idea and I'm hoping that it looked good in the end. And honestly, when building this on stream, it was probably the most daunting thing to do because I've never really built a full-on community lot all in one stream. But you all helped me, which is like way better than my own brain because I'm very indecisive and I never know what I want and I'm never satisfied. So I built this pool way before we got the infant update and growing together, so I didn't really add any infant related type items, which is basically nothing. And I feel like a community pool, infants don't really swim anyway, and I don't think they can use a kiddie pool from the backyard kids room toddler stuff, whatever packs they were. But nonetheless, I think community pools are like a easier way to build something new and easy, especially in base game only. So like I had no packs installed, just the base game. And looking back at this build and just in general, it really shows how far we have come with base game from the very beginning of 2014 to 2023. Like, that's a lot of years of like, The Sims. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, we're about to be in the 9-year anniversary of The Sims 4. Like, if we hit 10 years, I hope there is something big other than like, a hot tub. Because I tried to incorporate a hot tub into this build, but there was no way and chance I was using that hot tub. So I scratched that idea and went with my other idea. And I also realized that there's a lot of things when building only base game, it shows that we're missing a lot of different things that we should have had and I would hope they would have. So I definitely want to make some type of like PowerPoint slide or something to saying what I would love to see in base game, because base game is so basic, but there's so many like little things that we're missing that we desperately need. Like we need a diving board. I think it'd be really cool to have an active like lifeguard career or some type of like career where we can like be a lifeguard at an actual pool, because there's already a lifeguard career as a teenager but not for adults. But I think it'd be really cool to incorporate that like fully where we can like be an active lifeguard at a community pool or just a pool in general, but like diving boards, lifeguards, like more pool related type items, because we're missing so many like cool swimwears for like children, toddlers, infants, every age stage. Like they're really like lacking on like the pool activity type of things. So let me know in the comments below if you have some ideas on like what we're really missing in base game when it comes to like swimwear and pools and other things like that, because I think the more times that we talk about this, the more they're aware of what we want rather than what we need, or like what we need slash want but not what we don't want, if that makes sense. But I don't know, but I realized also when building this, I was like, wow, I forgot we had light switches in base game. Even though they're not usable and they're not like functional where you can turn off the lights on and off, it's just like a cool added feature to add to each room to show more realism, I guess. So a light switch goes a long way. So I added that into like pretty much every room that I could. And there's not really much you can do in this community pool besides swim. And then I added in like a little play area for like the sandbox. And then also a few other things too that I cannot remember. But the entire like main building is gender neutral. So everyone can go into here no matter what gender they are. Everyone should belong regardless of their gender. So I think it's a very good way to keep it more easier and more functional rather than frustrating and trying to figure out which bathroom can my sim go into. Because the way that I play is I play with the walls half down, so I hardly see any of the doors. I don't know what icon it is on. And that's why I feel like with base game, there should be so many major updates to a lot of different things. Like we now have, binders, shapewear, hearing aids, glucose monitors, we have pronouns, we have so many cool diverse updates in base game that's really changed the way a lot of people play, but also they can see themselves in the game now, which feels really great. And I feel like for me, what I'm gonna personally do is change every chance I get. Every time it's a new world, I'm making every community lot bathroom gender neutral because I have no time to figure out which bathroom my sim can go into. Because I don't like playing with the walls all the way up. Who I want to know who plays with the walls all the way up. That is something that we need to know. But nonetheless, I think I kind of went a little bit overboard with the decorations of the bathroom because I find with base game there's not much you can do with it because there's like showers and toilets and sinks and that's really much it. But I really wanted to make it very personal that a lot of Sims come here to like have parties, anniversaries, family reunions, and like all sorts of like fun activities to really make it more humane, I guess. And it really goes to show that, family means everything to me. And I definitely want my Sims to come here when they have family reunions. So I added in like a little pavilion near the pool area and a bunch of like chairs along the way near the pool. That way I can say, oh, all these Sims are here for like a little party, or they're here for like some whatever it might be. So like the way I play The Sims is usually how I look at real life. Sometimes I say life imitates art, and sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. And I think honestly, we got to think about, the bips and bops, the high highs and the low lows of how we're really going to play our Sims game. And like the other day when I was recording some videos, I was thinking of like how my sim Aspen O'Connor could come to this community pool and like have a fun time with her son Winston and like have a pool party and a family reunion. Even though none of her relatives are alive and she was the only child, I think Winston and his friends could have like a pool party and they can come to this pool, hang out. Like I tend to build all these lots for my own Sims, and supposedly some of you all tend to like them, which is very nice. So I tend to build these things for myself and then I share them to you all if you want them. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, these builds are for me. I wanted to have these things because no one else has built them in the way I want them. Like, of course, there's so many builds on the gallery, and everyone's so talented at building. But I have a specific way of building and specific way of decorating. So I'm like, I'll just build my own so I can make it what I want, because I feel so bad of like deleting people's items or demolishing like parts of their build because like they spent so much time and hard work on that build that I don't want to ruin it. So I'm like, I'll just make my own and like do it myself so it's easier and I feel less guilty. But if you know, you know. But I think like honestly looking back that there's so many things that I want to see. Like I do hope eventually at one point they give us more like things for infants, like swimwear will be really cool for infants, or like infant type items that we could add into base game. I wonder if the infants can use the kiddie pool. I forget what pack it comes with, but I know we have a kiddie pool that think either came with seasons, kids room stuff, or backyard stuff. One of those three, but I'm pretty sure it's seasons because seasons is seasons and you got to have seasons in your game to, really thrive. And it's kind of funny because when I was going through all my families that I was creating for this like this save file, I was thinking, who is the mayor of Newcrest? And I actually did a build a while ago regarding who is the mayor of Newcrest and, their daughter and their grandkids and like who they are really. But this community pool actually was built way after the mayor of Newcrest died, and his grave is actually in the park. And what's so sad about me and building everything that I record is that I literally forgot to record half of my park. So I'm gonna have to do a separate video on my park, which I'm gonna do a whole like overview of my Newcrest save. That way you can see everything and what I did, so you can get the understanding of like why I made certain things this way. And that park, oh, I wish you could have seen that park. It was like probably my most favoriteest thing I've ever done. And I hate capital H. I don't really like doing community lots, let alone parks, because parks are like a whole other thing. They're bigger, there's more space, equals more opportunities for new ideas, but then like that big space is a little bit too much. So I'm like, I had to like do it off camera, but nonetheless, I had put some graves near the like in the park graveyard, And it's literally across the street from this community pool. Like across from the street of this community pool is a ready to move in mansion. And then next to it is a park. And I think across from this one as well is a Newcrest townhouse. There might be two other lots. I think this area where it's at is a park and three houses. One's ready to move in, and then two of them are like fully furnished, and then of course the community pool. So I'm making each neighbor or neighborhood like a, what do you call it? A family area. Like all my ideas come from family gameplay and family shows and movies that I watch, and I try to incorporate them into my own build some way. So I think that honestly, at the end of the day, learning from this build is that base game has come a long way. I've learned how to build differently, utilizing debug out the wazoo, and also like thinking of new storyline ideas. Because the way that I see it is that with base game, we can only go up from here. I think that we can have a lot of opportunities to make this base game look really great. And base game is free, so it's like the best of both worlds. It's free, and you can do so many cool things. But in this area, I was thinking of making like, you know how like usually at community pools they have a row of like beach chairs or like lounge chairs everywhere with like tables on the side, and like making sure that everyone has like a nice place to sit with umbrellas and tables on the side to really make it, everyone's invited. So that's what I try to do. But then I was also thinking of like a 1970s, retro type hotel pool. And I was like, what if I just like size down all the tables with the umbrellas beside the chairs and like call it a day? Even though you can place things on those tables, there will be some floating issues you'll have because it's a size down and not the regular size. But you kind of get the idea that I was going for, because we don't really have umbrellas in the game, and I wish we did. I literally wish we had like standalone umbrellas that would just stand right there. Like I know for me, I can make custom content and I can do those things. Like I can separate the items from like the umbrella and the table and just make it two separate items. But console players don't have that luxury of CC and mods. So I'm like, I might as well just do it for myself and PC and Mac players so they can download it. But hopefully one day we just get standalone umbrellas, because I like the idea of adding in umbrellas to the side or like behind like a lounge chair to make it a full-on community pool. Because of course we have like other umbrellas from like other packs, but since I'm using base game, I was limited on items. Unless I didn't look further enough. Because now that I'm thinking, why do I feel like there is a separate umbrella in debug that I could have used? I don't know. I have to look back and like see if it's there, because I don't really remember. I tend to build very sporadically. Like I'll go from one side of the build to the other side of the build, and then to the other side and the other side and the other side. So it gets a little bit jumbled and crazy. But nonetheless, a pool is a pool. You got to do what you got to do and make it happen. And I don't know how to swim at all. I don't know how to swim at all. And I can get in the water. I can stand. I can like hop around in the water, but I can't swim. There's no way I'm going to be swimming in that chlorine infested pool. No, thank you. But I do like the idea of having like a pool to go to meet other people and like eat the food and like just have a fun time away from like computers and the hustle and bustle of life. It just makes it a lot easier to like be all together. Plus you can have like family reunions here. And I think my Sims will have enough space to last them a lifetime to do a family reunion and have all the kids like sit at one place while they go play in the sandbox, or they swim in the pool, or whatever it might be. So I think I might make another community pool, but utilize pretty much all the packs and see how creative I can get with that one. Because base game, we can only do so much, but I know with backyard stuff and I think perfect patio and even seasons, there's so much you can add to really make it a full-fledged community pool. So that is another challenge I'm going to do for myself. But however, what I'm going to do is actually wrap it up here and do the real-time tour of this build, because I find when you speed up things in a speed build, there's so much going on and it's very hard to see everything. So I'm going to go in the game and show you all the build in real time, so it's a lot easier, smooth, and I can give you a little bit more of an explanation of what I've done with my community pool that I only used base game. So honestly, when building this community lot, it was challenging but relaxing at the same time because it was something that I haven't done before, but it was equally fun to like do new things that are out of my comfort zone. Like I added in like a small little pavilion over here with a bunch of like picnic tables. I got the recycling bins in the back. I've got grills, I got a little stereo, and a bunch of seating literally everywhere for your Sims to like lounge and sit at and relax in. And I was mentioning earlier that I had like these little side tables on the side of the chairs to give it some realism and like your Sims some shade at least. And I thought it'd be really cool to size these tables down with the umbrellas on, so it's like equal size to the smaller ones that we have for the patio tables. Now, I know eventually if you don't have seasons, it'll never rain in your game, but if you have seasons, just make sure this thing is actually fixed or just remove it from your build, because there's no covering of any kind to not have this being destroyed. But I thought since you're having a pool party or a family reunion or whatever you might be having, could be a good way to have a little stereo. And I left this part open just because I felt if it seemed too crowded, but of course you can add like another table right here if you wanted to do that. But I felt like it was like a good way to just like leave a space open for your interpretation and your imagination. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to have like a lifeguard tower or like a diving board. I cut that out of the build because it just seemed ridiculous, but I was gonna put one here and a lifeguard tower here, but I wish we had. I wish we had a lifeguard tower and a diving board so that way your Sims can like just dive in rather than like, you know, how they usually just jump in or through the ladder. But still, I need more pool items for base game. And then I put some like these towels on the floor, but essentially they're all just rugs, so they're not really usable of any kind to lay down on. I thought it'd be kind of a good, you know, a little imagination idea thing. You got towels on the floor, you read books, you got these 3 books to read on here, and it just made sense to add those for some realism. So on the inside of the building, I kind of did a flip-flop of some items that you did not see in the actual speed build, but I really wanted to make it very cozy and chill and family orientated. At first I was going to add in a fireplace like over here, but I swapped it with a chair and a chair over here, so it made more sense and it was less confusing and a lot more cohesive along the board with the color scheme that I was going for. But I added like a toy chest, some armchairs, a coat rack, some books that your Sims can read if they don't want to swim. And of course you have like the main bathroom area where you can change into your towels or your swimwear or whatever you're doing at the locker station. And of course you have your main bathroom with all of your toilets and showers and sinks. And of course, a little board to know what's happening around in the community pool, like any parties, any events, any special things around the community that you want to know. You can come to the bulletin board over here, sign your little name in the book if you would like to, and you're good to go. But essentially, this is my entire community lot build that I did for my base game Newcrest save file, and I hope that I get to do this again because this is very, very fun. Making your own save file is very hard because it's all on you of building all the lots, making all the Sims, building their storylines, customizing their aspirations, their skills, their relationships, the whole 9 yard. So it's definitely a lot, but it's totally worth it in the end once it's fully finished. And I think this is a passion project that we'll have for a very long time. But either way, as always, do let me know down in the comments below of what you thought of today's build, and especially let me know if you've ever built anything in base game recently that you've been proud of. And if you have, let me know because I would love to see it. But nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!